Well, good morning. Thank you so much for having me, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here, and truly an honor to introduce our next guest to the main stage. Meredith Baxter is a producer and an actor who many of us know from her work in series television and her more than 50 made-for-TV movies. Much of America fell in love with Meredith, I know I did, when she started in her first series, Bridget Loves Bernie, in the early 1970s. And we continued to grow up with her as she appeared in guest roles in series as far-ranging as The Love Boat, Medical Center, The Streets of San Francisco, Family, and Family Ties. Meredith shared with me that she has played a sexy cat burglar, a Civil War femme fatale, an Egyptian princess, but in this group, who hasn't? I'm just saying. A jilted lover, a little woman in Little Women, a district attorney mom, a Donner Party mom, an alcoholic mom, a drug-addicted mom, an unfaithful mom, a schizophrenic mom, a psychotic mom, an avenging mom, and a murdering mom, twice. And now, after coming out so publicly on the Today Show in 2009, I think we can add to her credits her new role as America's lesbian TV mom. The roles Meredith has portrayed in her real life are no less diverse. She is a breast cancer survivor, a 21-year recovering alcoholic, a marathon runner, the actual mother of 5 children, a best-selling author, and my fantasy girlfriend of the past 35 years. Please welcome to the stage, Meredith Baxter. Wow.
Thank you. Oh my God. I'm sorry, there are too many of you. Wow, thank you for that great introduction. And I apologize in advance. I didn't get my speech up on the teleprompter, so I'm going to be buried in my notes a lot of the time. I want to thank everyone for having me today, particularly UNTIED for inviting me to be part of their 10th annual event focusing on equality in the workplace. I'm particularly glad to be here because I wasn't invited to the other 9. I understand why. Yeah. I'm really excited to be a plenary speaker. Now, I had no idea what that meant. So I had to look it up in my writer's thesaurus, and it gave me some very flattering synonyms like unconditional, absolute, plenipotentiary, and comprehensive. And I was feeling all fine and fluffed up, and then I checked my dictionary, and it said it was just a speech where everyone's attendance was required. Good. I hope you're all here. I was very interested in a study that was done at UCLA not too long ago that provided evidence that that people experience emotional strength and fortitude and an enhanced sense of well-being from sharing with each other what goes on in their daily lives. The study found that sharing protects. It buffers the hardships of life's transitions. It lowers blood pressure, boosts immunity, and promotes healing. So I like that UNTIED has provided that kind of platform of people sharing their experience, strength, and hope. It's like a little medical benefit sidebar they have here. So in the mid-70s, I was by myself at a music event in Santa Monica. I was going to hear Holly Near in concert. Oh, yeah. I loved her music, and I was so excited to actually see her. This is the first time. And she strode out on the stage, arms high, saying, "I'm out!" Everyone, the crowd went wild, and I was just clapping with them, going, "Yay, yay, she's out." She's out from New York? Is that what she said? Out from New York? Welcome to LA, Holly! Yeah. I think I missed the nuance of her message at the time. But years later, I thought about how powerful that must have been. But at the same time, it has to have been very harrowing for her to walk out on that stage in front of hundreds of unsuspecting fans and announce that she's a lesbian. Okay, maybe not so unsuspecting. That's I don't know. I was always the slowest, you know. And then about 2 years ago, almost 40 years after Holly Near, when I said it on the Today Show, on national television, I was sitting there in front of Matt Lauer, and there's layers of fans outside the studio window waving at me. And I can confirm that it was harrowing. And very powerful. To be honest, you know, I thought there was a good chance that I was going to say, I'm a leper. You know, I was just a wad of anxiety and despair. See, they'd called me America's mom for years. You know, I was the mom on a beloved TV family. And I remember one day on Family Ties, at lunchtime, I'd gone into the executive producer's office and suggested, you know, pitched an idea for a possible episode in which Elise sort of finds herself flirting with an old boyfriend. And the executive producer nearly choked on his sandwich, saying, but she's the mother. See, I didn't think that coming out as a lesbian was going to square with that America. And being a lesbian is not inconsistent with being a mother, but I didn't think they knew that. I didn't want to have to explain myself. It wasn't anyone's business. I was sure it would ruin my career, and it just which seemed to be kind of it's an adagio phase anyway. But the truth is that when my partner and I left the NBC studio that morning, after doing that fateful Today Show, and we walked out into a cold, gentle rain, I felt free, unburdened, and so calm. You know, I had faced the devil, and I survived quite nicely. Thank you. See, I'd come off a lesbian cruise to threats that the Inquirer and other tabloids were going to run with stories of me being a lesbian. Now, all my family and friends had known for years, but I wasn't out to the public. I wasn't out to the rest of the world. So I felt really rattled, and so I went online for some guidance. Now, at the time, I remember seeing a few coming out stories, which I just ate up. You know, and I got a lot of good advice on how to come out to my mother, who's been dead for several years, so, yeah. But it was odd. Just the other day, I Googled coming out again, and there is scads of coming out information, how to come out to your friends, how to come out to your teachers. There's coming out advice, coming out counseling, coming out comedies on YouTube in Spanish, French, and German. There's coming out journals, coming out campaigns, coming out rallies. And there's scads of soldiers also coming out on YouTube to their families and friends. It was time. See, I didn't know these tools were available. I had sort of come to the conclusion that the only recourse was to get a publicist, get a spread in People magazine, and go tell it all to Matt. I was pretty sure that's how all of you did it, you know. But it was only gradually revealed to me how powerful and how political all that was, because a known woman, someone non-threatening and familiar, is publicly claiming lesbian status. And this spring, there I was again on the Oprah show, talking about my book and being a lesbian and holding hands with my partner, a woman, a damn fine woman. And Oprah is sitting there asking us questions and saying, okay, tell me more. You know, and we are an unexceptional garden variety lesbian couple, being interviewed by the most powerful woman on television. And, you know, our holding hands in front of Oprah was the kind of profile of normalcy and acceptance that we don't often get to see. So that for those of you who didn't already know what a lesbian looks like, there we are. You know, so I write a book and I become an accidental activist. I haven't had much experience of inequality in the workplace. I've dealt with some sexism, and I'm probably looking at ageism right now. But other than that, it's been a fairly smooth ride in the work arena. I've been married 3 times, and I've had 5 children. And that ride was taken on the generally straight path, heterosexual, I mean. You know, I came from a family of abusive abandonment, and so I married what I knew, abuse and abandonment. And as melodramatic as it sounds, most of my life, I was just trying to avoid being hurt. You know, as a teenager, I dated a little bit. I had make-out sessions with my girlfriend, but didn't everybody? I didn't attach any meaning to it. It never occurred to me that I might be a lesbian. I'd not ever taken the time to examine who I was or what I wanted in any way. My daily emotional undercurrent was just keep treading. You know, keep your head above water. You can live through this. And if I found someone who liked me, well, they became the flotsam I clung to stay afloat. And then to continue that analogy, hanging on to a human life raft is rarely a time when someone takes the opportunity to say, I wonder if I'm more into girls. You know, the thing is, it's funny, and I think it all unfolded the only way it could for me, in exactly the right way, and I have no regrets. I do a lot of public speaking on a variety of topics: breast cancer, domestic abuse, alcoholism and recovery, and abortion rights. And then I was introduced to Joe Salmonese from the Human Rights Campaign, and I got to speak for them in several cities. And I'm thrilled to be invited to get to meet all of you here today. It's the upside of being the new old lesbian on the block. So thank you for sharing your stories about how to be out and equal in your workplace. Thanks.